Hello and welcome, everyone. You are listening to our English learning podcast, English with Leo and Stella, and we are so happy to have you here with us today. My name is Leo.
And I'm Stella. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you're feeling good and ready to learn with us, wherever you are right now. Maybe at home, on a walk, in the car, or just relaxing with a cup of tea.
Yes, we know learning English is a journey. It takes time, practice, and a lot of patience. And on that journey, one thing always happens. We all make mistakes.
That's why today's topic is so important. We're going to talk about how you can learn English through mistakes. Yes, through mistakes. Because believe it or not, mistakes are not something to be afraid of. They are something to use and grow from.
Exactly. Many English learners feel nervous when they speak because they don't want to say something wrong. They worry that their grammar isn't perfect or that their pronunciation sounds funny. But we're here to tell you, it's okay. Mistakes are normal, and they can actually help you become better at English.
That's right. Every time you make a mistake, your brain learns. You notice something, you correct it, and next time, you remember it. That's how real learning works. It's like riding a bicycle. You fall a few times, but that's how you learn to ride.
We've both worked with many English learners, and the students who make the most progress are not the ones who speak perfectly. They are the ones who speak bravely. They try, they make mistakes, they laugh, and they try again. And slowly, they improve.
So, in this episode, we're going to explore different kinds of mistakes English learners often make. We'll look at grammar mistakes, pronunciation mistakes, and even vocabulary mistakes. Don't worry, we will explain everything clearly and simply, and we'll give you helpful tips you can use right away.
Yes, and later in the episode, we'll also play a little game called Guess the Mistake, where you can test your listening skills. It will be fun and useful for your practice.
And finally, we'll share some ideas on how you can learn from your own mistakes, how to notice them, fix them, and feel proud of your progress. This episode is full of encouragement and practical advice.
So, are you ready? Are you ready to learn English through mistakes and feel good about making them?
Let's get started. And remember, every mistake you make is one step closer to speaking better English.
All right, let's jump into the topic and have some fun with learning. All right, let's begin with something very real: the fear of making mistakes. We know this feeling very well, don't we?
Yes, we do. Many English learners, especially beginners, and even intermediate speakers, often feel scared when they try to speak English. They worry, what if I say the wrong word? Or, what if my grammar is bad? Or, what if people laugh at me? And this fear can sometimes stop them from speaking at all.
Exactly. And the sad thing is, when you're too afraid to make mistakes, you stop yourself from learning. Because learning a language is not about being perfect. It's about practicing, trying, and getting better little by little. And mistakes are a big part of that journey.
I remember one student I had. Her name was Amina. She was from Morocco, and she was very smart, but she hardly ever spoke in class. One day, I asked her, "Why don't you speak more?" And she told me, "Because I don't want to sound stupid." That really touched my heart. I told her, "You will never sound stupid. You sound brave." And little by little, she started speaking. Yes, she made grammar mistakes. But do you know what? Her speaking improved faster than many other students who stayed quiet.
That's a beautiful example, Stella. I had a similar experience with a student from Brazil. His name was Paulo, and in one class he said, "Yesterday I go to the beach." Now, of course, the grammar isn't correct. It should be, "Yesterday I went to the beach." But do you know what? He communicated clearly. Everyone understood him. And because I corrected him kindly and explained the past tense, he remembered it forever. He told me later, I never say go for the past again. That mistake helped me.
Yes, that's the power of mistakes. When we make them and when someone explains the correction in a kind and simple way, the learning sticks in our mind. It's like a light bulb turns on, and we remember it because it felt real. It was part of a real moment.
Exactly. It's very different from just reading rules in a textbook. When you experience a mistake, when you say it, hear it, or use it in conversation, your brain is more active. You feel something, maybe a little embarrassed, or maybe you laugh, and that emotion helps your brain to remember the correction much more clearly.
And that's not all. Mistakes also help us build confidence. Yes, confidence. Because when you make a mistake and survive, when nobody laughs at you, when people understand you anyway, you realize, oh, it's not so bad. That makes you feel more free to speak again next time.
Yes, that's when the magic happens. You stop chasing perfection and you start enjoying the process. You start focusing on communication, not just grammar. And your English becomes more natural and more confident.
And it's important to remember that making mistakes is not just for English learners. Leo, how many times have you made mistakes in other languages?
Too many to count. When I was learning Spanish, I once said, Estoy embarazado, thinking it meant I'm embarrassed, but it actually means I'm pregnant in Spanish. Everyone laughed, but in a friendly way, and I never forgot that word after that.
That's a classic mistake. I made one in French once. I asked for a poison instead of a fish at a restaurant. I wanted seafood, but I asked for poison. The waiter looked shocked, but kindly helped me. And guess what? Now I always remember the word for fish is poisson, not poison.
Those funny little mistakes teach us so much, and they also connect us with people. When we laugh together or help each other after a mistake, we build a human connection, and that makes learning more joyful.
So if you're listening to this and you feel afraid of making mistakes, we want to tell you something very clearly. Mistakes are okay. Mistakes are good. Mistakes are teachers.
And more than that, mistakes are signs that you are trying. And trying is the most important part of learning anything new, especially a language.
So please be kind to yourself. Don't worry about speaking perfectly. Worry about speaking more often. Make mistakes, laugh at them, learn from them, and keep going.
Coming up next, we'll talk about some of the most common mistakes English learners make and how to fix them in a simple and fun way. So stay with us.
We're just getting started. Let's keep learning, mistake by mistake, word by word. All right, now let's talk about something really useful, the common mistakes that English learners often make. And we want to say this clearly. It's okay to make these mistakes. Everyone does. The important thing is to notice them and learn from them.
Yes, we're going to break this into 4 parts: grammar, pronunciation, vocabulary, and cultural mistakes. In each part, we'll share simple examples and easy tips that can help you remember how to fix them. So let's start with grammar.
One of the most common grammar mistakes is using the wrong verb tense. For example, many learners say, yesterday I go to school, instead of yesterday I went to school.
Yes, that's a super common one. And the mistake is easy to understand. Go is the present tense, but went is the past tense. Since yesterday is in the past, we need to match it with the past tense verb, went.
A quick tip to remember this. When you talk about something that already happened, ask yourself, is it finished? If yes, use the past tense.
Another example is missing the S in the third person, like she walked to work, instead of she walks to work.
Yes. In English, when you talk about he, she, or it in the present, you usually add s to the verb. So it's he eats, she runs, it works.
An easy way to remember? Think. He, she, it. Add the S to make it fit.
Now, let's move on to pronunciation. Another area where mistakes are totally normal. One very common mistake is mixing up similar vowel sounds, like ship and sheep.
Yes, ship is short, like the sound in it. But sheep has a long E sound, like in sea. So, if you say, I saw a ship in the field, people might get confused and wonder why a boat is in the field.
Exactly. Here's a simple tip. Practice with minimal pairs. Those are pairs of words that sound very similar except for one sound. Ship and sheep, bit and beat, sit and seat. Say them slowly, record yourself, and listen back.
Also, listen closely when you watch movies or podcasts in English. Try to copy the way native speakers say words. This is called shadowing. It really helps improve your pronunciation.
Now let's talk about vocabulary mistakes, especially using the wrong word, or what we call false friends. These are words that look or sound the same in your language, but have a different meaning in English.
Exactly. For example, in Spanish and Portuguese, the word embarazada or embarazado can look like embarrassed, but they actually mean pregnant or confused. So if you say, I'm so embarrassed, thinking it means, I feel shy, that might be correct. But if you say, I'm embarazada, it could mean something very different.
Yes. So be careful with words that look familiar. Always check a dictionary or translator to be sure they mean what you think they mean.
Also, don't feel bad if you use the wrong word. Just ask. People are usually kind and will help you learn the correct one.
Now, here's a really interesting one. Cultural mistakes. These are not grammar mistakes, but they can sound strange or even rude to native English speakers.
Yes. For example, in some cultures, it's normal to say, you look fat today. And it's not meant to be rude. It's just a comment. But in English, that sounds very impolite.
Or asking someone, how much money do you make? In some places, it's a normal question. But in English-speaking cultures, that's usually too personal, and it can make people uncomfortable.
So here's the tip. If you're not sure about something, watch how native speakers speak in movies or real conversations. Notice what kinds of questions they ask, how they greet people, how they say goodbye.
And if you make a cultural mistake, don't worry, just smile and say, "Oh, I'm still learning." People will understand and appreciate that you are trying.
So those were 4 kinds of common mistakes: grammar, pronunciation, vocabulary, and cultural. And the best part is, every mistake gives you a chance to grow and improve.
Exactly. You don't need to fix everything at once. Just start with one small thing, and every week, learn a little more. Step by step, your English will get better, and you will feel more confident.
All right, in the next part of the episode, we're going to have some fun. We'll play a little game called Guess the Mistake, where you'll listen to a short sentence and try to find what's wrong. It's a great way to test your listening and thinking.
So stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment. All right, friends. Now it's time for one of our favorite parts of the podcast. We call it Guess the Mistake.
That's right. In this segment, we will say a sentence or a short conversation. There will be a small mistake in it, maybe a grammar mistake, a pronunciation mistake, Or maybe a vocabulary or cultural one.
Your job is to listen carefully, think for a moment, and try to guess where the mistake is. Don't worry if you don't get it right. This is just practice, and it's meant to be fun.
And after we give you some time to think, we'll explain the mistake in a very easy way so you can learn from it. So, are you ready?
Let's play Guess the Mistake. Here comes the first one.
Listen carefully. Yesterday, I eat dinner with my friend.
Hmm. Do you hear the mistake? Take a few seconds and think about it.
All right. The mistake is in the verb tense. The sentence says, yesterday I eat dinner. But yesterday means it happened in the past, so we need the past tense of eat, which is ate.
That's right. The correct sentence should be, Yesterday I ate dinner with my friend. Always remember, if the time is in the past, the verb must be in the past too. Okay, next one. Listen closely. I want to sit on the beach and watch the sunset.
Sounds okay, right? But there's a small pronunciation mistake. Can you guess what it is?
The word beach is the tricky one here. If you say it too short or too fast, it can sound like a bad word, something not nice. So it's very important to say that long E sound, beach, not betch.
Yes, that long vowel sound makes a big difference. So take your time with words like this. Practice slowly. Beach, sheep, feet. Make the E sound strong and clear. All right, let's try a vocabulary one now. Listen to this sentence. I am very exciting to meet you.
That sounds strange, right? Can you find the mistake?
The mistake is with the word exciting. The person should say, I am very excited to meet you.
That's a common mix-up. Exciting describes something, like a movie or an event, but excited describes how you feel. So, the movie is exciting, but I am excited.
Great tip. Just remember, ed is usually for feelings, ing is usually for things or events that cause that feeling.
Okay, last one. This one is a cultural mistake. Listen to this. You look very fat today.
Uh-oh, that might sound a little shocking to native English speakers. Can you guess why?
In many cultures, saying something like that is normal or not rude. Maybe it's even honest or kind. But in English-speaking countries, especially in the West, calling someone fat is usually considered rude or hurtful.
Even if you don't mean to be rude, people might feel bad. So instead, it's better to give kind compliments like, you look great today, or you look happy, or I like your outfit.
Cultural mistakes are not about grammar. They're about understanding how people in different cultures speak politely. So it's good to watch movies, listen to podcasts, and pay attention to how native speakers talk.
So, how did you do? Did you guess any of the mistakes correctly? If yes, great job. If not, don't worry. The goal here is not to be perfect, but to practice listening, thinking, and learning.
And the more you do this kind of exercise, the better you will become at catching these small mistakes in others and in your own English.
We hope you enjoyed this little game. If you did, let us know, and maybe we can make Guess the Mistake a regular part of the show.
Coming up next, we'll talk about how to learn from your own mistakes and how to turn every error into a learning moment. Stay with us. All right, we've talked about how mistakes are normal, and we've even played a fun game with them. But now, let's get into something really important. How can you actually learn from your own mistakes?
Yes, because it's not just about making mistakes. It's about what you do after the mistake. That's where real learning happens.
Exactly. So the first step is to start noticing your mistakes. Sometimes we speak quickly and we don't even hear ourselves say something wrong. That's okay. It happens to all of us. But if you want to improve, you have to slow down a little and try to notice the patterns in your speaking or writing.
A great way to do that is by using voice recording. This is such a simple but powerful tool. Just take your phone, open a voice recording app, and talk for 1 or 2 minutes about your day, your plans, or something you enjoy. Then listen back and try to catch anything that sounds strange or incorrect.
And don't worry if you don't catch everything at first. The more you do it, the better your English ears will become. You'll start to hear small things like missing words, wrong verb tenses, or mispronunciations.
Another great tip is journaling. Writing in a notebook or on your phone in English, even just a few lines a day, helps you practice grammar and vocabulary. And later, you can go back, look at what you wrote, and try to improve it. You might notice things like, oh, I always forget the S on verbs, or I used the word funny when I meant fun.
And don't forget about talking to friends, tutors, or language partners. If you're speaking with someone who knows a little more English than you, or a native speaker, ask them to kindly correct you when needed. Say, if I say something wrong, please help me fix it. I'm trying to improve.
Most people are happy to help, especially when they see that you're open to learning. And if they correct you kindly, you're more likely to remember it next time, because it becomes part of a real conversation.
And please don't feel bad when someone corrects you. I know that sometimes it feels embarrassing, but it's actually a gift. That small correction can save you from repeating the mistake over and over.
That's so true. And here's something many learners don't realize. Native English speakers make mistakes all the time. They forget grammar rules. They mix up words. They use slang that doesn't even make sense. Language is messy sometimes, and that's normal.
I once heard a native speaker say, "He don't like it." And I smiled, because even though it's not grammatically correct, people still understood him. So don't stress too much about being perfect. Focus more on being clear, confident, and curious.
Yes, clear, confident, and curious. That's a great way to put it. Mistakes are not signs that you're failing. They're signs that you're trying. And if you're trying, you're learning, we promise you. Every confident English speaker today was once a beginner who made 1,000 little mistakes. But they kept going. And that's what you're doing too.
All right, coming up next, we'll share some practical tips to help you practice your speaking and listening with confidence, and how to build your skills, even if you're learning alone.
You're doing great so far. Stay with us, because the best is still coming. Now that we've talked about learning from mistakes, let's get into something really helpful. How to practice your English speaking and listening every day, even if you don't live in an English-speaking country.
Yes, a lot of learners ask us, "How can I improve if I have no one to talk to?" And we always say, you can practice anywhere, even when you're alone. You just need the right tools and the right mindset.
One of our favorite tools is what you're using right now. Podcasts. Listening to English podcasts, especially ones like this that use clear and simple language, is a great way to improve your listening skills.
Exactly. And when you listen, try to focus on just one thing at a time. For example, maybe today you listen for grammar. How are the verbs used? Tomorrow you can focus on pronunciation. How do the hosts say certain words?
Exactly. And when you listen, try to focus on just one thing at a time. For example, maybe today you listen for grammar. How are the verbs used? Tomorrow, you can focus on pronunciation. How do the hosts say certain words?
Another great technique is something called shadowing. This means you listen to a short sentence or phrase and then repeat it right after the speaker, trying to copy the exact pronunciation, speed, and rhythm.
Yes, shadowing is powerful because it helps your brain and mouth work together. It's like training your speaking muscles. The more you do it, the more natural your English will sound.
A fun way to try this is to choose one short clip from a podcast or a movie, maybe just 10 or 15 seconds. Listen to it 2 or 3 times, then pause and say the same sentence out loud. Try to match the tone, the feeling, even the emotion.
It might feel strange at first, but trust us, it really works. Shadowing builds fluency, pronunciation, and listening all at the same time.
Another tip is to speak out loud every day, even if it's just to yourself. You can talk about your day, describe what you see around you, or even tell a story. The key is to speak, not just think.
Yes, thinking in English is good, but speaking is what really builds fluency. Even if you make mistakes, don't stop. Just keep going. You can even say, "Oops, that's not right. Let me try again." That small habit helps your brain stay active and focused.
And if you have friends or classmates who are also learning English, try to practice together. Make short conversations, ask each other questions, or even play a small game like Guess the Word or Describe the Picture.
Also, if you're working with a tutor or a language partner, let them know what you want to practice. You can say, "Today, I want to focus on past tense," or "Please help me with my pronunciation." That way, your practice has a clear goal.
And remember, practice doesn't have to be long. Even just 10 minutes a day can make a big difference over time. What's important is doing it consistently.
And finally, the most important thing we want to say is this: don't wait for your English to be perfect before you start speaking. Start speaking, and your English will grow.
Yes, speak with mistakes, speak with courage, speak with joy. That's how fluency happens. Not by being perfect, but by practicing again and again.
All right, friends. In our final part of today's episode, we're going to wrap everything up and give you a quick summary of all the things we've talked about today.
So stay with us. One more short part to go, and then you'll be ready to take your English to the next level.
Wow, Stella! What a great journey we've had today talking about mistakes and how important they are when learning English. I think it's time to wrap up with a really positive message for all our listeners. What do you think?
Absolutely, Leo. Sometimes when we talk about mistakes, people feel worried or shy. But the truth is, mistakes are actually very good. They help us learn and grow. They are a natural part of learning anything new, especially a language like English.
Exactly. I want to remind everyone listening today that making mistakes is not a bad thing. It's actually a very helpful thing. When you make a mistake, you find out what you don't know yet, and that gives you a chance to practice, to try again, and to get better.
Yes, Leo. And I think that's so important to remember. Sometimes learners get scared to speak because they think their mistakes will make others laugh or judge them. But really, people respect you when you try to speak, even if you make mistakes, because it shows you are learning and working hard.
And speaking of speaking more, I want to encourage everyone right now, please speak more and fear less. Don't wait until you feel perfect or ready. There is no perfect time. Just start now. Use your English in conversations, even if you make mistakes. That is the only way to improve.
I love that, Leo. Speaking more is the key. And don't be afraid to make funny mistakes. In fact, some of the best stories and memories come from those funny moments when we say something wrong, but everyone laughs, and then you remember the right way next time.
That reminds me, Stella, why don't we invite our listeners to share their own favorite English mistake stories? Those moments can be fun and very encouraging. You can send us your stories by message or email. We'd love to hear how you learned from your mistakes, or a funny mistake that helped you remember a word or phrase better.
Yes, sharing those stories can help all of us see that mistakes are normal and they are part of the learning adventure. When we talk about our mistakes, it helps us feel less alone. It makes learning English a happy, supportive experience.
And before we say goodbye, I want to tell everyone something really important. Learning English is a journey. It takes time, it takes practice, it takes patience, and yes, it takes mistakes. So don't be hard on yourself. Celebrate your mistakes because they show you are trying, growing, and moving forward.
And before we say goodbye, I want to tell everyone something really important. Learning English is a journey. It takes time. It takes practice. It takes patience. And yes, it takes mistakes. So don't be hard on yourself. Celebrate your mistakes because they show you are trying, growing, and moving forward.
We believe in you, and we are so happy you joined us today. Keep using English every day, even if it's just a little bit. Keep making mistakes, and keep celebrating those mistakes. They are your best teachers.
Thank you so much for listening to our podcast. We hope this episode helped you feel more confident and excited about speaking English. We can't wait to hear your stories and to continue learning together.
Until next time, remember, speak bravely, make mistakes, learn lots, and have fun. Goodbye, everyone, and keep shining with your English.
Bye, take care, and keep practicing.